Hello everyone, this is BJ from Hearn's Hobbies, and today I'm going to talk about airbrushes with the maintenance side. So this is one of our signature classic airbrushes, and maintenance of airbrushes isn't difficult, but it's very important to keep them working nicely and smoothly. So I'll just get coming closer in a sec, and then I'll dismantle an airbrush and show you the points that are important to handle. Okay, so here I have one of the signature classic airbrushes. So this is one of our most popular airbrushes, but airbrushes of all brands go together pretty much the same way. So you'll have the main body, you have the rear cover which covers the needle access, and then you have the nozzles here and the paint access. Now the first thing you generally do after using an airbrush is take the cap off here. So you have some paint residue within the cup. So within the cup, just need to put in a small amount of thinners. So it'll probably be up to maybe 1/5 of the way, and then using a soft brush, brush all the way around it, pour it out, and then apply some fresh thinner. So that'll be diluted again, and then spray it clean. Then after that, apply a little bit more thinners, and then spray it clean again. And then you can wipe the inside with a rag, and that's pretty much the cup cleaned out. Now, when it comes to a point where you've used it for a little while, and the spray is not as consistent as it used to be, it's probably going to have to do with a blocked nozzle. So once you have it like this, so we've got the cap over here because we won't be needing that for the moment. So you undo the back by unscrewing like so, and this comes off. And then you have access to your needle. So the needle has a locking nut here. So you just undo the locking nut, and that'll release it, and from there you'll be able to slide the needle out like so. Now you need to be very careful with the end of the needle because it's very sharp, so you don't want to hurt yourself, and also you don't want to bend this, because if you bend it, the spray will be spraying on an angle, and it's not what we want. So you put that somewhere where it's safe, like so. So now you've got basically the body alone. Now we can take out the nozzle, so the nozzle just unscrews. So this is the main cap. So as you undo it, gently pull it off here, and you'll get to the end nozzle. So this nozzle here is where the needle pokes through. There's a very small hole here where all the paint comes out, and sometimes you'll get some dried paint. It may drop down here, or you just may get some build up on the inside, and it'll stop paint from flowing. Now the only way to clear this out is it needs to be back cleaned, and to do that you'll need to take off the nozzle. Now it's very important that the nozzle is removed carefully, because if any of this becomes damaged, and if any thread gets stuck inside, then unfortunately this part is non-repairable. So when you get your airbrush, you'll usually get a small spanner. So a spanner like this. So this part here with the flat cutouts is what's used for removing the nozzle. So the nozzle will have some flats on the ends. So this spanner will match with the flats. So that should be about there. And then you gently rotate it anti-clockwise. Okay, so as you turn like this, it's starting to come off. Now we'll just undo it a little bit and see if we can get the rest of it off by hand. So doing it by hand is a lot more gentle, and you'll be able to pull it out straight without the threads getting damaged. Okay, so that's a nozzle right there, and that's come out of the body here. So from here, you could always put some more thinners, use a brush, clear out the inside, even have this connected up to the compressor, blow it out a few times and it'll clear out. Now with the nozzle itself, if you have particles stuck on the inside here, then you'll need to flush that out. So usually you use a small brush, you'll be able to get most of it out. And then to check, you can always hold that up to your eye, look at a light and see if there's light entering. If there's not, then it's still blocked. Now if it's really, really tough, then you'll probably need to leave it in some thinners and soaking for a while, and then turn around and gently from the front end of the nozzle you blow through it, and that should clear out all your blockages. Now at the time, if you can't clear it at all, if it's really, really bad after a long time's use and it's really stuck, then you need to get a new one of these, and that's quite easy to do. So you just buy a new one of those and you fit it on. Now the fitting back is very important too, because the threads are so thin. I get a lot of customers that bring them in and they've actually broken them off, and once the threads are inside here, it's impossible to get them out. So get your main body here, so you can see the threads here. you line up the nozzle and you put it on with your hands, because you can feel whether or not it's going on straight. If it gets cross-threaded on an angle, well, that's going to damage it as well, and that's not going to be any good. Okay, so we'll tighten it all the way, finger tight. Okay, so that's finger tight now. And now to tighten it up with a spanner, you have to be very gentle with this. So with a spanner, you basically just want to nip it up a little bit. So I'm doing it very gently. Okay, now that's giving resistance. Now from here, I'll touch it just a little bit. That's enough. Okay, so that's the nozzle back on. We'll put the cap back on. Oh, before I mention that, if there's anything stuck within the cap, of course you blow that out and clean it out with a brush. Wipe it clean. I'll put that back. Now always put the nozzle covers back on, because when you put in the needle, if they're not there, then the end of the needle pokes out and there's a chance that you may damage it. Now the needle goes back in, so I always use this finger here to guide the needle so I can see where the end is. Poke that in, get it as straight as I can, and then it's straight in. Now you don't want to put too much pressure on this either, because if you put too much pressure, it'll make the nozzle bigger and then it'll spray really roughly. So let's just in like this. That's firm. Tighten up the nut. Just adjust the trigger to make sure that it's all moving correctly. So you can see there the needle is moving with the trigger, so that's fine. Put on the end. And there you go. That's the airbrush, maintained, all cleaned out, ready for its next session. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything, but if I've missed anything, be happy to show you more detail. So there you go. Happy spraying.